Tragic military decisions made by England in early 1940 forced a neutral Norway into the war against Nazi Germany. Within months, the nation of Norway fell to the Nazi threat. Panicked Allied forces realized that the imperative heavy water plant was now in German hands. Germany now had the resource necessary to build an atomic bomb. However, in February of 1943, 6 Norwegian special operatives under Operation Gunnerside triumphantly destroyed the Wehrmacht plant, crippling the German capability to create their own atomic bomb. It's 1940 and the world is once again on the brink of war, but at this stage it is often referred to as the phony war. No fighting had yet taken place. After the invasion of Poland and the declaration of war by England and France, Germany was busy mobilizing its forces to prepare for a full-scale war, while England and France were reluctant to fire the first shot at their enemy. In the meantime, Sweden was shipping large amounts of iron to Nazi Germany through neutral Norway. Iron was a critical resource for the Nazi war machine, used for building tanks, ships, planes, basically anything made out of metal. At this time, Germany was receiving around 10 million tons of iron through neutral Norway. Great Britain recognized this supply line as an opportunity to undermine their enemy, and they swiftly blockaded the Norwegian waters with mines to prevent any ships from reaching Germany. The loss of that much iron would essentially put an end to the German war effort. Germany was determined to protect its access to this precious resource, so on April 9, 1940, they commenced a two-pronged invasion of Norway. Despite the enormous gap in naval power between England and Germany, the invasion went in the immediate favor for the Germans. On the first day, Germany was able to land a successful paratrooper raid, immediately taking the Norwegian capital and several naval ports and airfields. The very next day, Germany set up a Norwegian puppet state, but the fighting continued on for 2 months. Norwegian troops kept fighting till the bitter end, but with the final English and French troops evacuated on June 8, 1940, it was all over. After the fall of Norway, the Allies suffered a major loss, not in the loss of Norway, but in the loss of the heavy water plant in Norway. The importance of this plant was its heavy water production. The purpose of heavy water is to be a moderator for plutonium in a nuclear reactor. This plant, being the only plant in the world that produces the material in large quantities, posed a huge problem for the Allies. The Germans have been advancing in their atomic program, much like in America. However, the Allies have zero clue where they are in their progress. This became the Allies' of the war. Then, with the fall of France, England was on their own to correct the problem. Let's fast forward a couple of years to 1942. World War II is now at its peak. Germany is at war with England, America, and the Soviet Union. England and America put their heads together and created 2 operations to sabotage the heavy water plant: Operation Grouse and Freshman. The operations were 2 separate teams. Team Grouse was tasked to scout the plant to prepare the way for Operation Freshman. Freshman consisted of British air troops, a bomber, and 2 gliders. The plan was to bring in the team in on the 2 gliders, towed by a bomber, and drop them off near the plant to meet up with Grouse. But with the combination of bad weather and little communications, the mission went downhill and into the side of a mountain. Literally. Bad weather made visibility low, and the lack of communications meant that they were totally blind. They were so blind that one of the gliders crashed into a mountain, killing everyone inside instantly, and the second glider landed far away from the landing site. The second glider crashed, killing some of the crew immediately. Team Grouse could not reach the glider in time for a rescue, but the Gestapo did. And the crew of the second glider was captured and killed. However, Team Grouse was never found by the Gestapo. About 3 months later, Team Grouse, who is now renamed to Team Swallow, received a message that a second team will be coming in. However, this team will only have 6 members and will be parachuted in. The name of the operation was Gunnerside. Gunnerside's members consisted of Joachim Ronberg, Kurt Hudkelid, Friedrich Kaiser, Caspar Idlin, Hans Storhag, and Birger Stromsheim. The team dropped into Norway at midnight of February 16, 1943. After 5 days of hiking, they joined up with Swallow. Then, on February 27th, they commenced the raid on the Norwegian heavy water plant. But this was no easy task. The Norwegian plant was a fortress, both naturally and physically. The plant was in the Norwegian mountains, and on top of that, their target is underground in the basement, which meant there's only 3 ways to enter the plant. Way 1, come down from the mountains above the plant, which is covered in mines. Way 2, cross a heavily guarded single-lane suspension bridge guarded by a German battalion. Or 3, go below in the gorge, cross a half-frozen river, and climb a 500-foot cliff. Needless to say, they took the gorge. After the 500-foot climb, their only obstacle was the plant itself. The plant was protected by minefields, searchlights, high barbed wire fences, and constant patrols. Together, teams, Gunnerside and Swallow, entered the plant and split into 2 groups, a 4-man bomber team and a 5-man cover team. Ronenberg and his team went to the nearest door they saw, but it was locked. After a quick search, he found a tunnel that led inside the plant. Then, in Ronenberg's words, "Getting inside, I was quite certain that the rest of the party would follow me, but only one chap came. The other ones hadn't found the entrance to the tunnel, therefore we decided we would have to do it ourselves, and started laying out the charges." The explosion wasn't loud, and most Germans at the time thought it was just the machinery working. The team made it out and back to the lookout team. Together, they all made it out, and none were captured or killed.
Es bleiben im Raum Keitel, Jodl, Krebs und Butter. Das war ein Befehl! Der Angriff Steiners war ein Befehl! Wer schickt Sie? Dass Sie es wagen, sich meinen Befehl zu widersetzen! So weit ist das also gekommen.
The plant was now destroyed with 0 civilian casualties, and upon inspecting the damage to the heavy water facilities, General Nicholas von Frankhartz, the head of the German forces stationed in Norway, referred to Operation Gunnerside as the most splendid coup. Once the news of the destruction of the plant reaches the German High Command, this seals the lid on the German atomic program, because in their eyes, it was too much of a drain to continue on with the project. And even with the plant itself becoming operational again in only a few months, the Germans still did not pursue the program and completely abandoned it. The Gunnerside team prevented the Nazis from ever reaching the atomic bomb, and with their eventual surrender in 1945, the threat of atomic warfare from Nazi Germany was over. But even though the team destroyed the plant, none of them truly knew what they had really prevented, as Ronenberg mentions in an interview with the BBC. The Gunnerside team halted the German atomic program, but their fame came later in 1948 with King Haakon VII of Norway greeting them at the premiere of a movie that was the factual reconstruction of the mission. Tragically simple military mistakes put Germany into position to produce the atomic bomb. A world where the Nazis reached the bomb first almost became a reality, but with a few good men that triumphantly obliterated the Nazis' potential to create the bomb, prevented any possibility of atomic warfare from Germany, saving the world from a Nazi victory.